It's loading.
Can I
Something's
open it
happening.
on is it in the on the event? Can I like open it on my phone? Yes.
Ha, I've got a notification that we are live, so I think it's working.
Yes. Hello, welcome to the third of our little chats over LGBTQ History Month 2020. I'm sorry that you can't see me, that I'm just a floating voice, but my Wi-Fi isn't good enough to have my camera on. I'm really sorry, but I'm also here, and I'm very excited because today we are joined by someone from our sibling association in Poland, because the situation with regards to LGBTQ plus rights in Poland are vastly different to what they're like in Wales, and no one really knows about it. So we have a very special guest to teach us.
For those of you that didn't figure it out, that was Lucas speaking.
Did I not say that? Sorry.
You might have done. You might have said it. But that was Lucas speaking. He's our LGBT plus brackets trans officer, and you can't see him. There you go.
But I'm here.
You can see us. Yeah. I'm Georgia, I'm the Open Place Officer, and would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello, so my name is Nicola, and I'm a student in Poland, in Poznan, at the University of Adam Mickiewicz. I study theater, which is a very nice field to be in regarding our topic, because it's not even comparable to other fields where it can be a bit difficult. And I'm very excited to share, even though maybe the situation is not too exciting, to just talk to you and give a little bit of an insight of what's happening in Poland.
Awesome. So just to start us off, would you like to tell us a bit about your association and how it came to be? How did you set it up and when?
Okay, so it was in the works for over a year, and the idea came from 3 professors. They recognized that our university, although having rules and being like very open and accepting, still has a lot of professors and people who work in university structure that are homophobic and that are very vocal about their opinions and about their political views with students and publicly. And that was something that started to be, well, at least uncomfortable for them. And so they decided that they also want to speak up and have a voice. If these people can talk about this, then they can also talk about this. And like one of the reasons was to just bring people together who are not who are queer and who can find a little bit of support in that and maybe even feel safer at work. But also for students, it was important. One of the professors who was in the original 3 said that a lot of students during his classes like raised this issue that first of all they are queer and they are afraid of living in Poland. They're afraid of speaking out about this. So this was like a first initial idea. And then last year in Poland, because of elections, we had like a very bad situation regarding LGBTQ plus people, because our government began to target them or target us, and this was like the last straw, and that was the moment when they decided that they want to do it for real. Two of those professors already have a foundation which supports like rainbow families, so queer families with kids. So they kind of knew how it is going, how it's working, and they began to set it up. And during the fall, it was the first information that this association is happening, that they're open. And I think around a month after, there was a first meeting for everyone who wanted. You could have just come to. We use Microsoft Teams in Poland, not Zoom, for most of our classes. So it was like a set-up meeting. Everyone could come. They would explain why, when, everything. And if you wanted to stay and work and like be in an association, you had to, like, of course, fill the form and everything. And yeah, I think there are a lot, like around 90 people in it now, which is like a lot, but it's not only students, but also professors and people who work at the university. And it's very exciting because it's one of the, it's kind of unique because of this this pairing of not only students but also people who work. It's also a bit easier to kind of push through some ideas, and they also help a lot with if we have something what we want to do. They're like, okay, you can use this tool to do it, or this is possible, this is impossible, or they can like talk to, I think in a one of the professors who began the association is also like a student council. I think that's how you can say that. So we have like a lot of people on our side working together and creating very interesting events. And just we have, I think at this point, like 15 different groups in a whole association that are there's a book club, there's a film club, there are people who are responsible for like promotion of the association, and what the other one is like networking. So people are finding, we even have like a law section, so we know how to work with that and maybe how to propose changes in some university structures. So there's a lot of happening. We have a lot of energy, I think, because that's, we just started and everyone is excited, everyone is involved. That's like what is really important, that everyone who signed up for the association like wants to actually do things, not only be in it.
That's cool. That sounds really cool. Yeah, that's quite different to how the structure of ours is, because our university is so big. We actually have quite a distinct separation between the university and the students' union. So the staff, like all the lecturers and staff members, have their own network in the university, and then the students have, we have the association, and we also have a couple of like student societies, which are more for like socializing and having fun and going out for drinks when there's not a global pandemic. Whereas the association is much more focused on like what we can do and what we can get done, like in terms of policy and activism and campaigns and stuff. So it's really interesting to hear that you've got like it all in one, but also there's like different bits inside. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I think it's you know, I'm not sure if at the beginning they like knew that all those things will happen, because it just came out on the first or second meeting, that those are just things that people are interested in,
Yeah,
and they want to do. And I think it's very cool and important that the association gives us a lot of space to kind of do our own thing, but in and kind of in favor of association. So we have a book club, but it's a book club with queer books, and it's, it's all around that. And yeah, I think there are still like a lot of those professional things or like big things, but also we have together with the fun. And like it was also one of the main reasons why the association came to be, to just like socialize and like to get together, get to know each other, and like have fun together as well, not only to be an activist, but just to know other people who study with you, because sometimes maybe you just don't know. But Poznan is also, at least in my opinion, quite a queer city, if not the queerest one of them in Poland. For
cool.
example, we do have Pride in Poland. I think 2 years ago, 2019 was like the year when there was a lot of prides, like a lot of the time, the first time, in like smaller cities, not only in the big ones. But in Poznan, there's a whole Pride week.
A
So
week?
there's yeah. There's like a week of events.
Whoa.
Because in Poznan, there's also an association called Group Stonewall, or like Stonewall Poland, I think. On Instagram they have it like that in English. And they just like organize a whole week with a lot of, every day have a different events. And then, like at the end of the week, there's a huge pride, like parade and parties. But that's I hope maybe next year, or
Yeah, fingers crossed.
yeah, they're gonna bring it back again. But it's like sometimes they're just like plays, or just like lectures, just meetings with people. There's a lot of, just everyone can come and do whatever for a whole week. And there's even like a street in the center of the city, which is like kind of made to be like a Soho. And the whole street is closed, and there's a lot of like rainbow flags and everything. Very cool. And that's
That
the only
is.
city that this is happening in.
Yeah, in Cardiff, we have a Pride weekend usually, but most of like the march and most of the main things happen on the Saturday, and then there's some like smaller events on the Sunday and the Friday, I think. But yeah, whole week. That sounds awesome. Oh, I tell you, a really cool thing that happens in Cardiff is that because the city centre and where we hold like Pride as the event is right next to the castle, and so along like the walls of the castle, there's like alternating gay and Welsh flags usually, and like lots of different flags on it, and that's really cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
So tell me. Oh, sorry.
No, I just wanted to ask, do you have like a certain date that is like every year it's happening?
It's usually like late August, but I don't think there's like a set date every year.
Yeah, but August is like, I mean, it's not late, but kind of late.
It is quite late for Pride, because usually Prides are in, so like the big London one is usually the first week of July and stuff like that.
Yeah, and for us it's also like beginning of July, and then June is like a Pride month, right? So
yeah,
most of the Pride is happening. Okay, cool. But I'm asking because, like, if traveling is still happening at some point, that would be definitely cool to.
Yeah, you could do prides everywhere. Go to all of them.
Yeah, like a tour. That's what I wanted to do in Poland, because they're never like close to each other. They're I think they're in 2019 they started in like April or even March and ended in October. So we can go to like as many as you want.
That's cool. So tell me a bit about the current political situation and why it's bad.
Okay, so thing is that we kind of don't only have a problem with LGBTQ people. We have a problem with our government, like in general, like since I think October, if I'm not mistaken. There are also a lot of protests regarding women's rights and abortion rights. And that's like what is the biggest issue now. But last year, we had elections for a president. And so at this point in our government, is like very conservative, right wing, also the president is. And there was an election, and it was like a very important election, because in our political system, if the president of the other party would win, he has we only had male candidates, of course. I mean, for a moment there was a woman, but she was not really supporting women's rights, so it was more like a figure, like a statement, than actually giving power to women. So the president has the ability to like cancel the government and set the new elections. So it wasn't something that was in the campaign, but a lot of people expected it, if the other candidate would win, to like cancel the government, do new elections, because for the whole period of this government right now, they have been changing laws left and right, and people are not happy about this. So they needed something to help like gain more votes from people who are conservative as well, but they don't want to vote for them. And sadly, the target was LGBTQ people. There was a lot of quotes that I don't want to, said again, because, or maybe I should, because some of them are like pretty strong, like our president saying that LGBTQ people are not people and that we don't exist. That's a different politician. And also in Poland, the politics is really connected to the church, to the Catholic Church. So there was a lot of like church representatives who would also say horrible things about the community. And basically the bottom line was, you should not be scared, because those people don't even exist. Why they are fighting for rights if there's no such thing as being gay?
That's so weird.
Like to this extent, like at some point it was so delusional that we were just like,
how did you get there?
What is happening? And it was like right after, because of course when it was happening, when the comments were, the thing is that those kind of comments were happening all the time. It's not like they suddenly began to happen last year, but it was the rank of people who said it publicly in a television, like our president during like campaign was saying those things with like little kids next to him dancing or whatever. and saying about like traditional family and values that we have to keep, of course, tradition. And people went out on the streets, like it was obvious, and it was like right after Black Lives Matter, and we had a few protests regarding that too. Like from April to June, I think I've been to like 8 or 9 protests, because it was just constantly happening. And of course, the protests were not as big as the ones that are happening now, because not all the people are affected, of course, by LGBTQ rights, or like they just don't care. And for women rights, and when it comes to abortion, more people are involved and affected, so more people even from like different political spectrums they just go and protest together. So yeah, it was challenging time. Not many things like happened because of it. It was just like the protests were just to show that, first of all, we exist. Hello, we're here. Look how many people came to this, and almost none of them are straight, so we kind of are here. So it was more like visibility thing rather than like, I don't know, demanding rights, which was also, of course, it was also about this, because how can you even deny very basic human rights to other people? Like that's awful. But it was, I think it was, from my point of view, it was more about visibility. And then elections happened, and the conservative president was elected again, but it was by like I think 1% or 1.5% difference between the two. So it was quite close. And then people were like questioning if the votes were right, but they made up a lot of different things to shift the focus. Like, for example, there was bill about Halloween and like banning Halloween and dressing up, and like giving fines for dressing up on the streets.
Why?
Yeah, Polish government is like, I think, delusional at this point. They just have no idea what's happening, like how we're I hope I'm not gonna get in trouble for this. But well, I'm not in the country yet, so hopefully
I feel
I'm
like
not gonna
no one from Polish government is going to be watching this live stream.
You never know. You never know. No, but when the women's rights protests were happening, I was like kind of considering going back to Poland from Erasmus for like a week or two, just to protest with people. But there was like a real fear that I just might not go back because of, I don't know, like the fines or COVID. Because on top of everything, we also have a pandemic, which is also not handled very well in Poland at all. We have like some very weird restrictions that are not really making sense a lot of time.
We feel that. We have the same problem here. Lots of poorly handled decisions and restrictions that don't make sense. And
I think they're just like very temporary. Is that the right word? They're like they want to do something for like a short period of time, and they don't really think of the consequences.
Like short term.
Yeah. And that's why like every 2 weeks everything is changing, and no one knows how it's gonna work. And if you want to or have to travel, it's just very uncertain.
Yeah, here as well.
Yeah, I feel like not to defend any government, but I feel like COVID has been a difficult thing to deal with, and I'm yet to see a government that handled it particularly well. But hey ho.
What about New Zealand? Jacinda Ardern, please marry me. Ma.
Yeah. But with our government, I think it's not only, like, you can probably tell that I'm not a fan, but I think it's not only the situation being hard and like difficult. It's like with everything else, they just don't care. They care about themselves and what is like right move for them at this point. Even with restrictions, like if they have an interest in opening something or closing something, they will do it. But it's not really like the decision made to help the pandemic stop. And yeah, so it's more like very where the business is, not only in like money, regarding money, but just like if they will get something out of this, they will do it. It was the same with like the targeting LGBTQ people. Like no one actually held anything against them. Like there were people that had like recordings of them talking about the issue a year before the elections, and they were like, yeah, I don't mind, or I don't care, or having no opinion about maybe not being enthusiastic, but like they didn't have opinion on LGBTQ rights. But then suddenly in a year, everyone is like, you know, in a very violent and aggressive mood. So it was also like a political decision. It wasn't like, oh, we hated him all the time.
Yeah.
This is now a good thing that we can use to win elections. So let's just do it. And let's just not care about lives of other people. Because you can probably imagine how it is for young people. I mean, we're all young still, but younger than us, like teenagers in school, like hearing from the news, from the TV that they're being denied basic human rights or even the basic human identity. Like that's horrible. And it's also what is even worse, it kind of gives the opportunity for people who were already like homophobic and aggressive to be even more homophobic and aggressive, because they kind of got like a validation from the government and from the big figures in politics. And if they're doing it, why can't I, as a normal citizen,
do it gave them like permission to be as homophobic as they wanted.
Yes, exactly. And we had but it was even before the pandemic and before all this government election thing 2 years ago, when there was Pride. I think it was, I might be mistaken because I'm not sure if it was the first or second or like but it was like one of the very first Pride marches in a city called Białystok, which is like 500 kilometers from Poznan. And that's what like my mind can't really grasp the idea that we live in the same country. Because you have Poznan on this side, which is like Pride Week, everyone is happy, everyone is gay. And then in Białystok, when the Pride happened, people had rocks thrown at them, like flaming bottles. There were girls who were like 15-year-old beaten up by grown-up men, and it was very violent, very sad. Like it was awful to watch. Like it was something. There was allegedly a bomb as well.
Oh my goodness.
Like, but the people, I think that it's a marriage. They were never, I think, charged with like proper charges. Just like something about, I'm not sure now, but I think just like having some kind of substances, not a terrorist attack that they were planning.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it was like a whole year before all this mess. And it showed how, because it's on the east side of Poland, which is like a little bit more conservative and like basically xenophobic, just like everything phobic. And that was on that side, and I had friends being there like marching, and it was a horrible experience for them. So imagine if there was a lot of this aggression already in our country, and then a year later you have people like the president saying, oh, that was kind of okay. Then it's just like, it's another level.
Yeah, that is scary.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yikes.
Something to lighten up the mood. This is like heavy, but I told you it's gonna be heavy. Like, yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah, we weren't expecting it to be a cheery time.
But that's why,
yeah,
because it is heavy, and that's why like we need to know about it.
Yeah.
But from good news, like good recent news, I think there was like a few weeks ago, not so long ago, there was a first like homeless shelter for LGBTQ people in Krakow, made like with the city. They like passed the bill or some, not, it's not a bill, but like they made it with like city money, if I'm
That's
correct.
good.
And that's a nice thing. In Poznan there were also like some because the Stonewall group, they do a lot of good, and they're not the only one, because we have quite a few big foundations working towards like LGBTQ people rights, and I think they're doing like a pretty good job. They do as much as they can, and others are in Polish, so now I don't want to like say them just because it will mean nothing. But like one of them is like love does not discriminate. That's like a big one. We have a campaign against homophobia, and there's like big ones that do quite a lot. And it's bad, but they are like locally trying to because another thing, it's like a bittersweet, because we have LGBT free zones in Poland.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, so those are usually small towns or villages that on their so I think in most of countries, but in Poland, if you drive into a city, you have like a plate or like a sign with the name of the city or the village, whatever. And under that, it would be LGBT free zone. One of them, which is a funny joke, has zone free of LGBT, Wi-Fi, 5G, blah, 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 blah. Like, they don't believe in Wi-Fi as well, so you can understand how like
wow
running this city, or like it's a no, this one is like a village. So we have those, and this is not fun that they exist, and sometimes they're sorry, what?
How can that be legal for people to say that?
I'm not really sure. I think there are just no laws that would say that it is illegal. That's why they're doing it. And often they're quite close to big cities, which is crazy. Like during the pandemic, there was one, I'm gonna go into my field, theatrical field. There was one director who made a play about one of those cities, which is like 40 minutes drive from Warsaw. And that's a capital. So like you would expect people to, and Warsaw is pretty liberal. Like no one would expect to this little free LGBT free zone to be there. And they just made a play about, it was like on Zoom, and it was just a guy walking through this village and like doing different things and like showing how LGBT free zone looked like, kind of this sort of vibe. But the sweet, or like the nice portion of that story is that EU is taking money from those LGBT free zones, villages, cities, whatever, if they, and they always do have some sort of deals with EU for, you know, like farmers and things like that. They have a lot of money for this, and just like developing small cities, and they're taking it back, like because of homophobia, which is like nice. And there are more and more cities that lose this money, but also we had one of our politicians saying, yes, they will lose money from EU, so we will just, as a government, give them more. So
that's not what we want.
Damn it. At least the EU is, you know, aware, not only aware of it, but also actively doing something.
Yeah, I think there were like people filing complaints to EU for our government, but I don't think anything more than just like vocal kind of warning was being made, and nothing more now, like not any punishments or whatever. So besides the taking back the money, but that's like more local than for a whole Poland.
So what sorts of things are you hoping to do as an association to kind of, you know, sort it out?
So, yeah, so like I said before, the one of the biggest goals is to create a community and create a safe space at our university. Like at the moment, we are working with a few other associations in Poland because we have like a system in that most of universities use for like registration for classes and like marks and all of like documents. Like you probably have one as well. So we are trying to somehow make it friendly for people who are transgender, so they can either have their chosen name, or maybe a name, maybe like both, but just one would be like marked as a birth name, and so they could have like a little bit of comfort with that, because at this point it is just their dead name in the system. They have, which is a very good thing, we already managed to do it on Microsoft Teams. You can change your name so the professors can like refer to you with your name, and I think in like a student email as well, you can like file you can ask for this, and that was already made. It is happening. If someone wants to use it, it's available. But now we are trying to somehow also work the big system, the one that everyone uses, and it's going to be either through our separate universities, or we are thinking of like maybe doing it even higher. So it can be as a default from the start, because the issue is that with at this point in the documents you have to have your birth name. There's no if you haven't changed that yet in the documents, it's not possible to have a different name in like legal documents, and the system is using that information for legal documents, like when you finish your university. So it can be changed like on Teams, because it's too formal. And we're just looking for ways to work with that, and how we can just make it happen so it's easier, for everybody.
I think it's really, really cool that you are doing something that will benefit so many students.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, even though your association is pretty new, you're, I don't know, I guess you dove right into the deep end, but it's amazing.
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with the fact that it was already made on a different university before. Like it obviously happened this year, or like last year when the pandemic started, because teams gave them like an opportunity to do that. But they also created it. It's an association in Krakow. They also developed like kind of a way around those informations in the system, but it's a bit complicated, because every time you need like those legal documents that are for scholarship, or maybe like a money help that you can get, and all of the documents are printed from the system, you have to change it again to the old name and then go back. And it's of course it's better than having nothing, but they were first, and we are trying to follow their steps, as they kind of already figured that out, how to do it.
Yeah, I personally found it was mainly with like funding, where I had the most issue with like various names, because that was very official with like bank details and everything. But
yeah, they get scared that you're a fraud if you've got too many names.
Yeah. But luckily our uni, someone who had the position of Georgia and I as one of the officers a couple of years ago, put it in, sorted the uni out basically, and was like, no, you have to use people's chosen names. So I guess we're really lucky that that was already in place when we started.
I think in Poland, even the idea of chosen name is kind of, for many, they're not familiar with it. Like they don't really know what it is, how it works. A lot of professors don't care. There are a lot of them do, and they're like very invested, and they're all obviously like nice and helpful, and they just like have a human decency. But there are some of them that are like that I mentioned like at the very beginning, who were like the main drive for making the association, and that would still be very like homophobic. And I imagine with this kind of professors, it's even just scary to tell them like, please, can you refer to me with this and not that, or even your pronouns. And you never know how they react, and if they have like an impact, because they're usually like the old professors that has a lot of power, and it might be hard and scary to try to like poke them and say like, oh. can you just like start thinking like it's 21st century, 2021, not still, yeah, in the 90s or something.
Mm.
But on the other hand, like I can say in my theater department, people are very open, and I know in many different departments they're very open. They're very like up to date with everything. They're interested in it, and there are a lot of professors who are interested in queer studies, and they research a lot of like gender studies, LGBT studies, and they try to, because we don't really have like gender studies in Poland. I think there's one school, but it's I'm not sure how to explain it, but it's not a bachelor and it's not a master's. It's like you can do it after university as in like an extra degree kind of. So there's not really like gender studies and or queer studies, but they try to like in their own field, if they have the opportunity, they try to like implement that as well.
I don't know if I would say that the majority of the staff at our university have any understanding of chosen names or even various pronouns, but yeah, luckily it was just, honestly, it was students that kind of went above their heads and kind of enforced policies, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I'm obviously really, really glad that they did that for us. Something that I have been burning to ask you, but it didn't make sense until now, was, I don't want to put you on the spot, but is there anything that you can think of that we as mainly students in the UK can do to help the situation in Poland?
I think like the basic thing is just the awareness. So like I had a lot of friends during these difficult times making English infographics just to share with people. I think that's like the easiest thing to do, to like just be like, you know, this is happening, like let's be aware of that, and if there's anything happening like more like call to action, I don't know, then you already know about this issue and you don't need to be introduced to it anymore. But I'm not sure if there are any especially with COVID and pandemic things happening right now that we could so do, but I think definitely we can refer to that more social fun aspect of the association, and just like creating a community. It's also like very nice and important, even in those hard times, to have an idea that somewhere else is a bit different, and that we can just like talk to each other and like exchange experiences. So that's like on the spot what I can think of.
No, that was great. I know that our association are like so willing and keen to help and be involved with your association, because we think what you're doing is amazing, and community is so important.
I think it's just like the main kind of point of creating community is creating a safe space. And if there is the community, and if there's a space to do things and to grow, to even have a room to explore your identity without being scared, judged, or even hated, it's very important, especially in university, when a lot of people maybe move out from their cities or villages for the first time. They're trying to redefine themselves, like find themselves, and to give them all the options. So there is an option which is a safe space to explore maybe this kind of looking for identity, and I think it's important to create those so people who are next have a little bit easier.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
University for a lot of people is like a really important space where they can like experiment with different aspects of their identity. So I agree that it is really important to ensure that those safe spaces are accessible.
I know it hasn't been quite an hour, but I think that really like rounds off what we've been talking about quite nicely. So you okay if we end the live stream there? I'm just going to check if there's any last minute questions. Okay, I can't see any questions on the comments on the live stream. So thank you very much for coming, and we'll be looking forward to doing some more things with you and your association in the future. Yeah, thank you very much.
So much for coming to chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for inviting us. It was nice to have this. Even we made a little bit of community right now. We got to know each other a little bit, and you know,
if you have any like social medias that you could recommend to us, maybe where we can stay more up to date with the community, with your local community, I would be happy for you to send them over in any way that's
okay. I'll try to just like maybe at the end of the week, but I will try to make like some list maybe with the ones that are in English talking about Polish solution, and I'm gonna send it to you over email.
That sounds great.
You're amazing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye bye.